text that much anymore, Alex. So yeah, let's get started. Like I said, the idea behind Get Juicy is to show off footage, show off plugins, show off new features, and just hang out with you guys in general a little bit. So the first thing I want to show off is this new Resolume pack. It's called Conscious Coral, and it's quite an interesting pack because it has duplicates of each clip. So if I move into this clip, and it has then a duplicate. This is the I would say regular clip, and then we have a clip on top, which is basically the same clip but with a nice flashy, colorful, more colorful version of the clip. So we have the basic and then the colorful version that can go on top. I'm also trying to switch between my full screen version and my Resolume interface. The cool thing is if we have both these clips running at the same time, we can now fade between them, and you can get the effect as long as they're triggered together. So I'll trigger the column, and I'll have the whole clip at once. And this way I can fade between the colorful yet black effect layer, sort of the effect video, and then the bland version of it. I really like this. We can also reverse it. So here I put the regular clip on top and the effect layer below. Sort of the same effect. I prefer the other way around though. And what's cool is you can really start playing with this layer. For example, use some other blend modes. For example, the burn will have a distinct effect. We can try something like dodge, would be nice. Dodge the colors and fade in like that. Lighten might be cool. It's also really the idea of this stream is also just to experiment a bit with the content and the visuals and see what we can make together. So if you have some suggestions yourself, feel welcome to post them in the comments. Try this, try that. But I think it would be cool if we make this this layer on top, that we make it audio reactive. I think that would be cool. So I'll take my footage layer A, and let's just take the opacity of this layer. Where's my opacity? Opacity, video, video. So if we hear it in the music, I want this effect to bounce off. Let's first get some music. Don't laugh about the music. I made the stuff. just some simple beats I make to test these clips. So let's get some music going. And on the layer, I'll start animating the opacity with the. In this case, the clip is running inside of Resolume, so I'll use the composition FFT, and that should be. It's really soft, of course. Play a little bit with the gain. I really want to have that big, when that big kick hits, I want the layer to bounce in. Let's try it with a different clip. Yeah, I really dig this effect. The moment you get the kick, I dig that. I think this one is my favorite of the pack. This is probably my favorite clip of it. I think this is really cool. So yeah, great way to mix with the FFT. Let's try a different. Yeah, this is also cool. Maybe some different blend modes. This is cool. Really simple, 2 layers, 1 effect, and we have a really cool, cool thing already going on here. Any other stuff we could add? Suggestions are always welcome, of course. What should we add to this? Let's see some cool effects. Maybe some edge detection on the composition. And also hook that up to the FFT. So I only want to have the lower region. Let's see if the reverse works. That's pretty cool. This is getting pretty funky, pretty funky. Is the sound reactive stream again? And we can use the brightness contrast. That's a cool idea. Let's bypass for this. Brightness contrast. And let's add what would be cooler. Probably contrast would be nicer to buff with the FFT. Only the lower regions. And in this case you want to set the baseline to 0 because else your footage goes black. And maybe something with a little bit clear kick. This is getting too bright. We're going into some serious psychedelic terrain here. That's pretty cool. Like this. Let me show you this. This is a big version of it. Maybe some house music under it. I think the volumes are not all the same, but it's just for testing purposes. It's not a show. Yeah, so that's our first pack of the day I wanted to show you. This is the Conscious Coral pack. It's available right now. I think it's pretty sweet. Let's move on to something a little bit more sunny for now. Resolume audio doesn't work. We're off. Okay. I will remove the. I won't go full screen anymore. This is the second pack I wanted to show you guys. It's very colorful. It's called definitely pick it up. This is Summer Vibrant pack. Well, let's just scroll through a few clips. I think there's over 30 clips in this pack, so I just took a little selection. It's really this nice, vibrant colors. Yeah, I just noticed that once I go full screen, my audio disappears. Sorry for that. I won't be going full screen anymore because of that reason. So yeah, where were we? Yeah, Summer Vibrant pack, really nice, well, vibrant colors in here. I think I also want to make this. I'm in an audio reactive mood, and to this stuff, I really thought like, yeah, when would you use this kind of clips? I think if you would be VJing for something like tropical house or tropical house kind of music, I think these visuals would fit really well. So especially for this pack, I made my own tropical house beat. Don't judge me. I'm not a professional producer. So let's try it. I'll put it soft in the background. I still have some stuff on the composition going on. The layer is still. This one is still audio reactive. Let's not do that. We're only gonna use one layer. So something like a blur really works on this kind of footage. I'm gonna quickly turn the sound off because it's a loop, and I'll go absolute mad. A good question from Alex. On the Coral pack, would there be a way to specifically control the color that's pulsing throughout the content without changing the actual color of the coral? Well, we can try before we move on with this. Let's go back to the coral and see if we can try that, and also the infinite zoom on the colors. Yeah, let's do that both. So changing the colors on this one, yeah, well, first you could of course use a hue rotate, but I don't think that's really what you mean. This would rotate it, but I think you're meaning specifically the effect colors. Well, it's a complete clip, so that doesn't work. But what you could do probably, if we do hue rotate it, but we take the hue scale down, then it gets more like an overall colorization. So let's say we want to have it, I don't know, reddish, and then layer it on top of this. Oh, but we're still in darkened. Let's do that, and trigger them at the same time. So you could do it like this, Alex. Yes, is this working for you? I only put it on this one. Let's put it on the layer. It's the correct layer now. Yeah. So then you would have the effect, the colorize effect, on in this case I made it red, but it would not be. Well, actually, this looks pretty cool. This reminds me of another thing I did with this effect as well. Is turn it actually to black and white. That worked. Black and white. Am I tuning the wrong thing now? So yeah, well, if you use the colorize, can go greenish. I like this. Oh, the hue scales. Yeah, the hue scales should be down as much as possible. So you could go turn it all the way down, and now all the effects in this top layer are just colorized to the color we need. So in this case, maybe a green effect would work. Yeah, I think this is what Alex meant in the comments. So yeah, that's definitely possible to do that. If you want to have a multitude of colors, not just green, you can just turn it up, and then you will rotate the entire effect. Alternatively, you could also colorize it, of course. Use a colorize effect on it. So it would also make it completely green, as this seems a little bit more harsh effect to it, and even add a palette to it. But then we're getting into some really serious funky territory. But let's explore it nonetheless with a little bit more subtlety. You can see the preview, what I'm showing in the left bottom. That's how the clip is looking now. And maybe we can add a mask in front of it. this way we take the black out of the clip. You can see in the color in the left bottom now, and we're colorizing by palette, or you can just colorize by a single color. And this already makes it a lot more subtle, and then we can play with the contrast of the auto mask to make it as subtle or as harsh as we want. So there's two different ways, Alex. You can recolorize this content. Yeah, you can totally have a client pick a color scheme. If you use the colorize effect, you can use your own palette and then just tweak it how you want to do that. The recolor effect I showed you is a JuiceBar plugin. I will show it in the future. I'm not before I make that recolor. Oh yeah, that's not even a JuiceBar. That's also a recolor is also an effect you could use for this. That's a pretty good suggestion, Santiago. I think I showed this off in the color classroom color we did a while ago. The disadvantage of using the recolor effect is that the palettes they are set. So these palettes, and then you would have to use a U rotate again to transform it. But I really dig this gold effect. I think that's pretty cool. Make it a little bit more subtle, lowering the ceiling. Now we have our effect golden glow effect. Let's try this on a few other clips. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, Santiago, thanks for the suggestion. I think this is a really awesome combination. Yeah, we're getting some cool stuff here. Look at that. That's pretty sick. Thanks, man. This is the power of community, giving each other tips. Really dig it. Yeah, and then of course you can use add 50 to make it add 50 would make it a lot softer. As a blend mode, so Alexi is showing. Yeah. I think there was somebody asking for the infinite zoom. Yeah, Santiago as well. Let's try on the. I think this would be a good candidate for an infinite zoom effect. I want to go. I don't want to hypnotize you guys. This is really something you have to be a little bit. Go a little bit subtle. Or not. As with all these effects, it's just you have to play with it, you have to tweak them. I think that's what I love about VJing the most. It's playing. And we have also this, and then you can rotate it if you really want to hypnotize your audience. Yeah, that's a cool one. I was thinking maybe make this stuff also give some like I wanted to do like an a practical example. If you have this this kind of content, I would use for like I said, a tropical house set. So let's add I'll just add a blur to the layer because it's easier to show off. No, the infinite zoom was not that great, but yeah, well, you try and you find out that way. So I really want to blur it out. So this would be the blurred. So now we have all the content on the layer is quite heavily blurred. And now I want to add I will connect the blur. You could also take the opacity to the BPM, because I think let's imagine that you know the BPM. In this case, the BPM. I know that the BPM is 128 beats per minute, and I'll add an BPM sync to it. And I want this is BPM synced right now. Yes. So if you BPM sync a clip, then you create an envelope, it goes into steps. Yeah, these clips are available for purchase. Their links are in the description of the video. And I'll just use the 4 to the floor example. And hopefully we now have, where's my nice tropical house beat? And now I have this on the kick. It's a really subtle effect. Mostly when I build a set, I have a few of these really basic audio reactive things going on. Can make it, let's make it a little wilder. That's a bit, you can go overboard with the effects quite quickly, but that's just because they're so much fun. This is really simple. Really simple version. I think it works really well on this landscape. Yeah. Could change the curves to sign in. It's a bit more. Get a little bit longer blur. Yeah. Above here I created a mask layer. These are clips from our progression pack. These clips can be used as a standalone clips, but you can also use them as masks. I have to adjust the mask layer to all below. That's a bit too much. Something like this, I think this is pretty cool. Yeah, it really makes you feel the bass. I think I created the, if you check out the envelope master video I did a while ago, I really go in depth into how envelopes work. I show up, I think, like 15 different tricks you can do with an envelope, all the way to, I think I have some sort of complex hip hop beat, and every accent in the music gets an effect. So basically you do complete video automation like you would in Adobe Premiere, for example, with points, but then you use an envelope. That's really cool if you know the music the DJ is going to play. That only works if you know the music. But that's a really cool thing. You should check that video out. It's called the Envelope Masterclass. Maybe inverted direction. Oh, that's a cool idea. Let's give that a try. Oh, that's a cool idea. I think Lexi had this idea for the like reversing the blur. That's really cool. I've never thought of that. But I think now we need sharper lines. This would need a sharper line then. Something like a linear. Yeah, really dig this idea. I'm Lexi. I'm totally gonna steal this this trick from you. The reverse blur. I just reversed the clips because that's. Oh no, I reversed the blur effect. Yeah. Yeah, really nice. And then, for example, yeah, use the masks. The camera went out again. I'm using a DSLR camera and it's not always Yes, and I'm back. Thank you for mentioning. Those masks are also from a pack. It's called the Progressions pack. Link is in the description. But I think it was also, I'm gonna turn off the music for a second. Maybe we can create our own give royalties. Maybe it would be cool to create our own little mask. So I'll use a shaper. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna show this off. I'm not working at Resolume that long yet, and I got to create my own preset. It's called Identity Crisis, and check it out. I'm pretty happy with this one. It's yeah, my moment of fame. So, but that's not good for a mask. Let's create a mask. So no outline. And for now, I'm also going to bypass the blur effects just so we can see what we're doing. So this this is just a really easy way to create some mask yourself. Maybe some radial cloner on the shape. Start radius. And to scale up. This is always just playing around. Get a different shape. Triangles. I'll be just really hipster. Oh, but maybe we can just create a cool shape. Like, let's do that. So not just the basic shape. So let's get a triangle and let's get a circle. And then when you have to turn it on, of course. And I want to make the circle a little bit bigger. So now it looks like we're almost having nothing, but the combine function, so you can use that to add two shapes together. I will be using the morph. Now my circle disappears, and I'll use the face to make this shield-like shape. I think it'll be cool. We need envelopes to envelope into wavetable synths. I hope the developers are reading this. I want more synthesizers. Yeah. And now let's get this into our radio cloner. I'm just going to reset the cloner. Get them in like that. And maybe the scale. Let's see. Start scale up. Start radius up, and then master rotation. Yeah, let's animate the master rotation and slow it down. Slow it down by multiplying the timeline. That always it always gets me. So yeah, this is for I don't know who, somebody asked about the masks. This is a really easy way to create some cool masks yourself really fast. And I'll unplug this and get where's my tropical house thingy. And this way, this is really quick and dirty. Of course, you can really go tweak your own version of it. But this is just really quick and dirty way to create a mask. Let's quickly check some of the comments. Okay, so that was it for packs. Now I want to show you some stuff, some JuiceBar stuff. As you know, we are collaborating with the JuiceBar. They are an online store for plugins, and I just wanted to show off some of the stuff they're doing. So I picked this effect. It's this yes, Arcos. The color is weird. So when you start up, it's sort of it has some similarities to the Linescape in Resolume, but it is it has some similarities, but it's also very different, as you will notice. It's some of us coming into the land of synth into Resolume. I was one of those guys. I actually graduated a college, and my major was audio synthesis. So yeah, I do like my fair bit of synthesis. So yeah, let's dive into this effect. Currently, the JuiceBar has a free version of this as well. When you create an account, there's something called Acros Free. It's basically the same effect, but it has a way more lower resolution as a way for you to test it out. But it's not. I wouldn't say it's the free version is not ready to use for performance. So what we basically have here is something that's a little bit similar to our landscape. We can rotate around it. We have a camera X and a camera Y. Noise is, I think, something like a bump map on the lines. And then we can start moving lines in both directions. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Some speed, more lines, some angular stuff. I'm just a little bit. I'm just sketching around and playing around here. Angle. Most of the JuiceBar stuff is new to me as well, so that's always nice to experiment with. Offset to move it around. It has a circular feature that's really cool. So now the whole line grid is circular, and then we have a pre and end blur. This is basically we have some sort of sharpness. If they are set together in the 50.5 in the center, we have really crisp lines. Let's zoom in. The lines are quite crisp. There is, alternatively to the dot, circular version, we have a dot, so we get a matrix. You can combine them to get really funky, funky shapes. And so this is basically a shadow camera thingy. Oh yeah, like that. Okay. So now we can get really into. We can cut it off. That's cool. Like I said, this is all just experimenting for me as well, and then fade it a little bit maybe. That's really nice. Let's colorize that. Oh, this is getting wavy. I have to pick another scheme. I'm using the Virdis way too much. As you can see, there's also some presets here, the Tetriatic and Split Complementary. That's from the last stream I did. You can go and check that stream out, and in which we discuss color theory, and you can download these presets and add them to your set as well. Let's go Plasma. That's cool. The Acros plugin is a paid plugin. All the JuiceBar plugins are paid. No, that's not right. They have a few free plugins as well. I think there's a plugin called Pong. I will be using that plugin in a future video. But that's, for example, one of the plugins that's free. So I think if you download JuiceBar and create an account, I think you can get like 3 or 4 plugins they have available for free. And the Acros one is, there's a free version of it, which is extremely, or not extremely, but is more, I believe, more a low res version. I don't know that for sure, but yeah, there's no harm in checking it out and giving it a try. So I'm just thinking what we're gonna do with this. If you have any suggestions where to go from here, welcome. Maybe a quad. Yes, now we're getting somewhere. This would be a cool time to show off some new Resolume stuff we got going on. This is not available yet in the release of Resolume, but we are introducing a bloom effect. This is still work in process, so if you see something going terribly wrong or me crashing Resolume, that's just work in process, work in progress. And the bloom is, let's see, basically like a really cool glowing effect. we could start animating this maybe. And the knee, it's still playing around with the. Oh, somebody said meta shape. Yeah, let's do that. Let's try that. Let's meta shape this. Circles and crosses. Sampled color. Let's fill it up. Scale it. And I just maybe I only want circles. And then probably wanna go in my cross and just make it all the way. And now turn on our meta shapes again. Yeah, funky. Nice. Try some color schemes. Woo. I'm digging this. Cool stuff, cool stuff. Yeah, okay, Steve, let's get back to the bloom. Let's get back to the bloom. I have to make this a little bit of... Yes. Look at this go. Look at us going here. So the glow stuff you see is actually coming from the bloom. And the weird shape is happening because we have the quad going on. You bypass that. Oh, that's actually a pretty cool demonstration. These are all I think these are all just a series of happy accidents going on here. Let's add some more bloom. So the bloom is based on the luminosity of the video. So the whitest parts get blown out. But it can give us this really smooth and then a Gaussian. We can go all the way, bloom it up. So I hope you like this thing. I think I just made another demonstration for this. So this is also the Acros plugin, and then I added the bloom to it. So it gets this really nice, is the initial position of well, the bloom doesn't have a position, so the bloom is based on the luminosity. So it will the stuff that the most whitest part of your video will get bloomed, will get blown out. So if you would have a picture with a dark street with light bulbs, then the light bulbs will blow out first. So this is the same plugin, but here I used the here we use the bloom as well. You can also, let's bloom it up, and you get this really soft colors out of it. But that reminded me of one of the effects I will be showing you. I can show right now. There's also a JuiceBar plugin. It's called Shine, and it's hard to say it does the same. It's sort of like these are just different types of it. I have here, I think I used it in the Palm Boom. Let's see, this has the bloom as well. This one has the bloom as well. Oh yeah, I have. So I went completely 80s on this one. So this is all. Oh, we have still a layer doing some weird blurring. So I wanted to create this this nice 80s thing. So because I was trying out some plugins, and this missing one. I love this plugin. I'm using it already way too much. It's also a JuiceBar plugin. It's called Old TV, And what it basically does, it creates the impression that you have an old TV. It only has one setting. You throw a timeline on it. I make it a little bit slower, turn the opacity a little bit down, and you have this instant old TV look. I love these kind of effects. They're just simple. They do one thing and they do one thing very well. But you see all this other stuff going on, so I'll just run you through this. I just threw the old TV plugin on my whole composition, so everything gets this effect. But yeah, everything, this whole clip is created in Resolume. Everything, well, the palm trees are a PNG image, but the rest, it's all Resolume made. So I think that's pretty cool. Let's go to let's start at the bottom. I have this, I'm actually going to turn off the old TV effect now. This is a JuiceBar plugin called a Techno Floor. It doesn't look normally like this. If you boot it up, it looks like this. It's yeah, it does what it says. It's this Techno Floor effect. Near far, it has a lot of parameters. That's something you'll see with a lot of the JuiceBar parameters effects. They are very, very tweakable. You can go a lot of different directions with this. This is already like went from the techno floor to some kind of cone. We're getting to the point that Resolume becomes this incredibly creative creation tool, and I'm really into that. Just rotates. We have zooms. Of course, the width of the floor. I do not know what the dot functions are supposed to do. Maybe Jan in the JuiceBar can explain us what the dots are for. And oh, these are mods. So then you basically get multiple colors. So I think if I turn this X mod up and then pick a different color, yeah, I can go red, for example, and then Y should be a different color as well. Let's give that a try. Let's turn Y up, and we get more colors. So yeah, really cool effect to play around with. What I did, because I knew I wanted to get this 80s style video, I took the Techno Floor. I think this is almost the base plugin with nothing. I animated the offset so it looks like you're moving through the floor, and I made it a little bit wider than the regular, and changed, of course, the color to this beautiful pink color. And then I wanted to have the top off, so I used the crop effect. And what the crop is, basically you can cut part of the video, you can cut it off. So this way we have this pathway. And then I added a little bit of our new bloom effect, because when we get new tools at the Resolume, we get addicted to them. So this was basically my baseline. Then I added the palm trees. Let's also disable that completely. You get this really, just pulled this off of Google. And I did a really terrible job at making it transparent. So first I colorize it. I just take a color, played around with the contrast to get it. I can actually maybe make it even better. Make the contrast, make the whole palm tree green. Then next I mirrored it, so it's on both ways. I used more bloom. Right now, oh, it's. I used it, but it's not doing anything. No, I can get rid of that. And then I added the linear cloner, which makes a whole line of these. By making a few clones, but the object is already mirrored, so the image is already mirrored before it goes into the linear cloner. 8 clones, 1 tail, and then just basically center everything. There is distortion in it. There should not be. And this way you can just get a linear line of clones in your objects, and then you can use the distribution. Oh, that's just so messing up here. Distribution to place them as you see fit. Could reverse them. Look better. It doesn't really matter. And then I used another effect from the JuiceBar called the Extruder. Now that's a very complicated effect. gonna turn this off for a second just to show you, and turn the linear cloner off and the mirror off, just to show what the extruder does. It's a huge line of info. Actually, I'm gonna show it up with the other effect because it's a way better demonstration. But I used it as well. Basically, you use an extruder to give a 2D shape a 3D, turn it into a 3D shape. So I'll just turn all this stuff back again. What happened to my cloner? So, something happened to the cloner. Yeah, so let's look at the shape, because I think this is a really cool bit from it. This actually started out as a triangle. This is just a basic shaper in Resolume, did nothing to it. All right. Then I use the extruder effect, and it's animated right now. And to create an extrusion on both sides, and then you have this extrude parameter, which you can use to decide how far the shape should be extruded. And this works really well on shapes. There's probably hundreds of other applications for it, but I thought, okay, just let's keep it simple. I'm new to this. You can rotate it, you can reposition it, zoom into it, and then I rotated it like this, and you have a 3D object in a few clicks. That's really amazing. I have to look more into this effect. I'm not a pro yet, because there's all these lighting options you can use to light the object from different sides. But what I wanted to show you was the shine effect, because I really like this one. It gives, well, it does what it says. It gives some shine to your object. Makes it feel really, and then I added some bloom as well, but that's just my new bloom addiction. That's also too much. Yeah, I think that's really cool. Could that extended plugin be used with text? Well, I think yes, but let's just give it a try. Let's use the text. Let's make a text block. Let's turn this off. So, and let's add an extruder. Let's see what happens. Oh, it's not a source, it's an effect. It's an extruder. Let's add it to it, so we can already see this is working. And let's rotate it around. So make it a bit smaller. But yeah, like you can see, your text is is basically 3D. I don't know what kind of magic they're using to get this done, but yeah, this is really cool. So now you have your text in 3D. And you can do, well, let's also add shine to this. More shine, yes. Maybe instead of shine, could use drop shadow maybe. Let's see what happens when you add a drop shadow to it. Well, now we're getting a little bit into word art territory, but there's a shit, my graphic design teacher is gonna kill me if he sees this. But this does work, so you can apply effects. Oh, I want to look into the extruder, and now move the extruder, rotate the extruder around. So yeah, that works, even though the drop shadow effect is 2D, gives the same effect. The color of the 3D shadow, well, there's technically not a 3D shadow. It's oh, you probably don't mean the drop shadow. We need Comic Sans. Oh shit, we're going there. Is this possible? Do we have Comic Sans? Yes, we have Comic Sans. Using Comic Sans drop. Oh no, of course. When you change the shape with the extruder, if you make drastic changes, like for us now changing the fonts, you need to update the shape. So I think the plugin can recalculate how it's moving. So now we have Comic Sans going on, and I'm just gonna set all these settings to default and rotate the X a little bit so we can see. Then we have all these different lighting options here. But that might actually get a bit too much to get into. Yeah, it's almost like controlling a lighting set in a 3D. The extruder effect is already available. You can get it from the JuiceBar. It's not a Resolume made effect. It's made by the JuiceBar. So yeah, it definitely works on texts. You can add drop shadows to it. What else would be cool to add to this? As you can see, my effect list is quite extensive because I have a lot more JuiceBar stuff to show you in the future. It would be cool. Well, like I showed you, the shine really works very well. If it needs to recalculate the mesh, no, I think you can do that. It just you can definitely. Lexi is asking if you need to recalculate the mesh. So if you're, for example, technically, if I change the text now to test, you can see the effect is acting really weird. I have to update the shape, so the plugin makes a mesh out of it, I guess. But if you want to do shaky text, I think you could something like Twitch, for example, the Twitch effect. Just put it behind. Not so. I use subtle. I want chaos. So yeah, that would still work. Let's turn it all down a little bit. And then rotate it a little bit for the 3D. So that would still work. You can still get really crazy. Pro tip from JuiceBar, it works. You can set an envelope on the update button, but it uses more. Oh yeah, that would be a solution. So to just demonstrate what JuiceBar is telling us is you could the update shape. You can add an envelope to this, so it would trigger each time depending on the speed of your timeline. So you would have to add a timeline and you can click it multiple times. I'm talking about presets for animated text. Yeah, so I think a text animation, that would not work because then it has to update so many times. Well, technically, yeah, you could do this really. Well, let's just give it a try. That's what this stream is for, to try this kind of stuff. So instead of a text box, we'll use a text animator. And then we want to animate it. There's no style options to it, sign alignment. So if we would do, for example, opacity, let's animate the opacity up and down. So we have something like this. So now we would use the extruder on it. And we need to update the shape, but we're going to add a timeline to the update. And we're just going to make it really. probably doing this the wrong way. So if you want to update it every frame, yeah, then you just need to make this really short, right? So I don't know if Team JuiceBar is, I'm doing it as they say, maybe I'm making a mistake. So this should be, yeah, it kind of works, but we're going to try to get it working really. No, that's also not the way to go. Having no time, only an envelope. Okay. So we only have an envelope. Ah, look at that. Hell yeah. Well, Team JuiceBar to the rescue. I would have never thought of this this solution myself. So if you create an envelope on the shape, you can get a permanent update. And now we can start rotating our text. Reducing, you can also say you want to extrude the back, or you want to extrude to the front, or you want to extrude to both. In this case, you want to do both. And the text, right now we're doing characters, but let's do words. We're gonna add this, I just read we're gonna add some distortion to it. Some kind of distortion we're gonna add. Yeah, this is also a JuiceBar plugin. Defects, would it work? Maybe just stick to the regular distortion for now. Just bypass this for now. Let's make it let's glitch it. That might be a shift glitch. Well, here you go. Instant satisfaction. Here we have the yeah, so that's the extruder effect. Pretty cool. Really nice new toy to play around with. So yeah, I showed you guys this one, how to create this with the shaper and the bloom and the shine and everything. Then we have the across stuff. I showed you that as well. Yeah, just a few ways. This is the regular one. This is with our bloom. This is with the shine effect from JuiceBar, and this is with our own drop shadow that's available. Oh, the processor load on this one. Let's take a look. I don't think this is a good computer to test it with because I'm working from like a beast machine. Let's show FPS. View. Show FPS. Yeah, I'm doing this effect now. This Team JuiceBar said this way of continuously updating the mesh can be heavy on the processor, but yeah, I'm running a really big GPU and a really strong workhorse processor, so I'm still at 60 FPS, but your mileage may vary. Oh yeah, I made this one. This one was pretty cool. This is also with the Acros effect. You can get a free version on JuiceBar. Turn the old TV back on, and it's such a simple thing. It's a simple gradient, and I took the Acros, applied a filter to it, and well, actually the default color is actually pretty cool. Colorized it with a palette. And applied some linear cloning with it. As you can see, the cloner is, even though it's cloned, they're not doing all the same. That's because the delay function is on, so the shapes are delayed to one another. A lot of options for good glitching. Yeah, we're getting to the point that you can completely destroy your whole content. I did a video on VSTs a few days ago. Go check that one out, because in that one we make, basically in that video I create a destruction button. So it's one button you turn and then both your video and your audio gets completely destroyed. So for Dr. Shikan, if you wanna check that out, it's a one button destruction. So I think that also sort of wraps up this this live stream. I showed you the Conscious Coral pack, the Progression pack, the Summer Vibrant pack. They're all in the description. I showed off a bunch of JuiceBar effects and sources you can go and try out. I don't have any more stuff for you, so I hope you like this stream. Please let me know if you do, because this is sort of a new concept I'm trying out, just to hang out with you guys a little bit, get your input on what you like to make, show off some cool stuff, learn something along the way as well. I learned a few tricks during this stream, so that's really cool. And yeah, I like to get into touch with our community, and this is my way of trying to do that. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!